Hi, it's WRTV's Ray Steele. I hope you like this video. In fact, I hope you will click that like button down there and click the subscribe button too so you don't miss the new stuff. Or you can click the subscribe button at the end of this video. Really appreciate it. Lots of political news to get to, and a lot of it happened last weekend at the state party conventions. We're going to try to get to all the January 6th committee news this week, but we'll just have to see how much time we have with our political insiders, Democrat Brian Gaddie, and our guest this week, Republican, former state senator, former head of the Marion County Republican Party, Jim Merritt. Welcome, Jim. It's good to have you.
Thank you very much.
And welcome back to you, Brian, as well. We hope to be joined by political reporter Adam Wren as well. He writes for Politico. Of course, he has the Importantville Political newsletter, and something that he wrote about is what I want to get to first this week. It was from the state Democratic Party convention last weekend. One of the keynote speakers, Mayor Joe Hogsett, and Brian, he gave a rousing speech, or what Adam described as a rousing speech, and one in which it sounded like he might actually be considering a run for governor in 2024. Conventional wisdom had it him running for re-election as mayor perhaps next year. Don't know what you know about that speech or what you thought of the tone that the mayor brought to the table, but what do you think? Hogsett for governor?
No, Mayor Hogsett would make a great governor, Hogsett, but I don't want to make any news here. I want the mayor to make those announcements for himself. But I do think that Mayor Hogsett has done a great job with our city. He's helped Indianapolis not only bring jobs, he's helped us in many ways, and he's done a great job. I know it's hard to be a mayor of a city, and there's no doubt about it. A lot of cities throughout the country are dealing with issues of crime, homelessness, and I really believe Mayor Hogsett in the efforts he's done as our mayor has done a great job. So yes, he would make an excellent governor, but I'm not here to make any news. I don't want to step on any news that he would put forward. That's Mayor Hogsett, and he will announce that. But I think he would make an excellent governor of our great state.
Now, full disclosure here, Senator Merritt ran against Mayor Hogsett last time around. We won't talk about the outcome of that election, but at the same time, Senator Merritt, I think there was a conventional wisdom that perhaps Mayor Hogsett had decided to stick around Indianapolis because maybe of some of those issues that Brian brought up, violent crime, and certainly violent crime has been a thing all across the country, not just in Indianapolis, but not having personally heard the speech, and none of us did. But what do you think about the idea that perhaps Mayor Hogsett is having higher aspirations right now?
Well, the mayor has always been ambitious. I've known him since college, and he's run for a lot of different offices and settled in the mayor's office. And it doesn't surprise me at all that he would be looking on to the governor's office. I think one little trip around Indianapolis with potholes would kind of gash an idea that he would run for statewide office. I did, like you said, I did not hear the speech, but violent crime is on the ballot this fall, and what happens in the prosecutor race probably will send a message to the mayor as to what his political future would be of running for mayor next year or governor the following year. I think that it's going to be a very competitive prosecutor race in the fall of 2022, and we'll all know what is going on in Marion County and really around the state of Indiana from the elections this coming November.
Indianapolis, yes, given its issues with the potholes, with crime, as you said, Jim, it's still a very Democratic city. I think Brian would make that argument that it is a heavily Democratic city.
I agree.
But
no, you wouldn't know because you lost to Mayor Hogsett.
But we weren't going to revisit it. We did anyway. But Brian is the mayor, and by virtue, I don't know if this is a proxy race or you would call this a proxy race for Joe Hogsett to watch, the prosecutor's race, because Republicans are solidly behind Cindy Carrasco, their nominee. And they are going to make this, as has been the case with other prosecutor, district attorney type races around the country, about violent crime. Because even though the numbers are down slightly from this time last year, they're still historically high in Indianapolis and Marion County.
Oh, there's no doubt about it that we Democrats are solidly behind prosecutor Ryan Mears, and prosecutor Mears is going to get reelected. And like I said earlier, it's not just Indianapolis that's grappling with these issues of crime. It's Chicago, it's all the other major cities. But whether it's Prosecutor Mears, Mayor Hogsett, we Marion County Democrats are doing a great job with trying to battle crime. And dealing with crime is never going to be easy. So there was a lot of crime under Mayor Ballard. I don't want our friends in the Marion County Republican Party painting a picture here that everything was just lollipops and roses when they were running the city, because we all know it wasn't, or else they would still be running the city. Marion County is a Democratic county. Indianapolis is a Democrat city, and it will remain that way. We will see on election day when we win and they lose, period.
That said, let's expound on that, Jim. Cindy Carrasco, seen as a very strong candidate by the Republicans, again, with a lot of Democratic headwinds against her. Why, with such a large supermajority for Democrats on the council, and the disparities that we've seen in voting in recent elections, why do you think Cindy Carrasco might have a chance?
I think first of all, I think she's running a very good campaign. I think she's a leader. I think she's new. And if you look around the country, San Francisco, where the prosecutor was recalled, there is such a hunger out there for the citizens to make a point of law enforcement and not having the turnstile of the courts, with all the situations with violent crime going on in Marion County. I think it's going to be a lot closer than we think now. And Cindy's she's got what, 5 months left, and I think she's going to put it in fifth gear. And I think she's going to win. I think this is the year that with the police union, with the FOP behind her, and the wind behind her back, I think Cindy's going to make it close, if not win.
It'll be close, but no cigar. You guys will not win.
We will find out in a few months from now.
That's what makes the world go around, Brian.
Let's talk about something else that came out of the conventions, or a couple of other things. One bit of news and one heavy rumor right now. Let's get the rumor out of the way. Mitch Daniels, former governor, just retired as Purdue University president after 10 years. He is 73 now. We all know that age is no object when it comes to running for political office anymore. It's not seen as perhaps the liability that it was in the past. And there is a big rumor right now that Mitch Daniels might be interested in maybe a run for governor, or maybe even challenging for mayor of Indianapolis. I saw that rumor as well. Again, Adam Wren, our friend at Importantville Politico, wrote about this. He actually asked Mitch Daniels about it. And of course, Governor Daniels kind of demurred. He was in the middle of his vacation at the time. But as somebody pointed out, Jim, he did not say no to a future political run. Mitch Daniels' comeback, is that something that you could see happening? And how do you think that would fly in today's Republican Party, which of course leans heavily right now toward Donald Trump?
Well, I think first of all, the party would have open arms, and he's done such an outstanding job at Purdue. He was a 2-term governor, and if there was a 3rd-term opportunity, he would have won in a rout. I think the world of President Daniels, because he's got 6 months more. I think that he's probably not going to do it, just because been there, done that type of situation. But he's not finished, and I really look forward to what his next challenge is, and I'm sure he'll pick a big one.
There is, I guess the thinking, Brian, is that there's no room for someone like a Mitch Daniels in today's Republican Party. What do you think about that?
Oh, today's Republican Party, Indiana Republican Party, is not a Mitch Daniels Republican Party. Heck, it's not even a Mike Pence Republican Party. It's a Donald Trump Republican Party. So Mike Pence, and obviously the Mike Pence wing of the party will tell you, oh, we still have influence in the Indiana Republican Party. But the facts are, this is Donald Trump's party. from the county level all the way up to the state level, all the way up to the federal level. So Mitch Daniels, I don't even know would even have a place in today's Republican Party. But I know one thing: if he does run for governor, he will fire up the unions. Our union allies. Remember, he was responsible for making Indiana a right to work state. We haven't forgotten that as Democrats, because before him, Indiana was a state where unions could collective bargain without a fear of state coming in and saying, no, you can't do that anymore. So there's no doubt about it. Mitch Daniels being a candidate for governor will definitely fire up the Democratic Party, us Hoosier Democrats, and especially our union allies. So we'll see what happens.
Well, we'll see what happens. But one thing we know is going to happen in regards to the party, and perhaps the Trump wing of the party, is Diego Morales is the Secretary of State nominee on the Republican side, winning at the state GOP convention over incumbent Holly Sullivan. Jim, Diego was once quoted as calling the 2020 election a scam. He has since walked back those comments, and he has stated that while he thinks Joe Biden was legitimately elected in 2020, he still says there were irregularities, voting irregularities in some states, which, as we know from January 6th committee testimony, is not true. That said, Diego Morales is Secretary of State nominee, a checkered history within the Republican Party. In particular, with the current Attorney General, Todd Rokita, back when Mr. Rokita was Secretary of State. What do you think about his nomination, and what does that say for not just the party, but perhaps electorally this November?
When I was the party chair years ago, 2017, 2018, one of my endeavors, one of my goals was enlarging the party to all individuals, a big tent, as they used to say. And when Diego started running for Secretary of State, he had the goal of just outworking everybody and seeing people. And the amount of new delegates that were new to the process was incredible this year. And I've been attending Republican convention since probably 1980. I saw so many new faces and met so many new people at the convention the other day. And I think that is largely because of Diego. He is enlarging the party to all corners of the state. And I'm really enthusiastic about his candidacy, because the Republican Party cannot stay in place. It has to grow. And I think people are really throwing a lot of mud at Diego, and none of it has stuck. And I look forward to his campaigning now and into the fall.
Questioning, even though he has again walked back some of his stronger comments, questioning the 2020 election that we know was legitimate, that is not an issue for him, you think?
No, I don't think so. You look through the years, and I thought I saw a stat sometime that ever since probably Al Gore, people have questioned the validity of a presidential election. That is something that other people have done, and it should not disqualify someone from running for office or success in running for office. Diego Morales is going to be the next Secretary of State of the state of Indiana.
Well, some would think that there's a difference between questioning the legitimacy of an election and some of what we know are outright lies that have been told about 2020. And as testimony has come out in January 6th committee, the lies that people knew were lies, and yet they were still telling them. That being said, Diego Morales is the nominee, Brian Gaddie. What does that mean for Democrats, do you think? Again, and what admittedly for Democrats is going to be a tough midterm election year, possibly all the way around.
That means our candidate Destiny has a chance to win. She's a great candidate. She's a veteran. She's an attorney. And unlike Diego Morales, no one has had any question about her integrity at all. Diego Morales was fired by Todd Rokita. Ethical questions, ethical lapses in his career, spotty business dealings. It's just no doubt about it. He has a sleazy background, and we Democrats are going to point that out to Hoosier voters. And his candidacy is just another example of the Trumpification, if there is such a word, I just created it, of the Indiana Republican Party. This is not Dick Lugar's party anymore. This is not Dan Colt's party anymore. Heck, this is not even Mitch Daniels' party anymore, which is why I think Mitch Daniels running for governor, he's just wasting his time because a Trump Republican to his right will take the nomination away from him. This is not your father's or grandfather's Republican Party. I know, because even though I'm a staunch Democrat, most people in my family are Democrats, I've got some Republicans in my family, and they don't even recognize today's Republican Party. Today's Indiana Republican Party and the National Republican Party is too far to the right, way too far to the right. And Diego Morales is emblematic of that. He's an example of that far right move of the Indiana Republican Party. So the great James Briggs of the Indianapolis Star, one of the top political columnists in the country, has said that, quite frankly, this is a gift to us Hoosier Democrats. Destiny has a chance to win, and I think she will win.
Well, regardless of whose Republican Party it is, I guess we still are trying to figure that out, how much of Donald Trump's Republican Party it is. We only got a couple of minutes left, Jim. From what we have heard from the January 6th committee, not just this week, but the 4 public hearings that have been held so far, and all the damning information about how Donald Trump tried to get a legitimate election overturned. How does that influence Trump's influence, if you will, in the Republican Party here in Indiana? Because let's face it, Donald Trump is still very popular among Indiana Republicans and Republicans in general.
Well, it just all depends on if people are actually paying attention. It's summer, you got county fairs, you've got vacations. It just really all depends if the information that's coming out gets traction. A lot of people I know want to know how this actually happened and what actually occurred with the lack of security at the Capitol. The idea that where did the speaker come involved, because she's in charge of the facility. Those are the questions that people have been talking to me about. So I think the answer to your question is are people paying attention right now, or are they worried about how much money they're spending on gas a week or groceries, and where their kid is going to school in the fall. I think people really, when it comes down to it, when they vote on things, and the presidential election's not for a while now, is actually how they're going to get along economically, and how their family is going to be able to get to work if the gas prices reach $7 or $10 a gallon.
Brian, we got a couple minutes left. You've talked a lot about how Democrats can walk and chew gum, you say, at the same time, can talk about those issues that Jim just mentioned, and the fact that Donald Trump tried to overturn a legitimate election and had a lot of help along the way, that 4 members of Indiana's Republican congressional delegation voted to overturn the votes in 1 or 2 of the states in 2020. How do Democrats do that? And how do you break through? Because as Jim said, we're still a few months away from the election. People might not be paying attention right now.
People are paying attention. Look at the ratings. These hearings are getting excellent ratings. Millions of Americans are tuning in. And millions of Americans care about their government. And they care about the fact that we had a former president, twice impeached, 2-time loser of the popular vote, that really propagated the big lie for several months. And he whipped up this crowd, and it was not Speaker Pelosi's fault. So my good friend Jim Merritt say, oh, well, where was the security? Well, who brought the mob there in the first place? It was Donald Trump propagating the big lie, whipping everybody up, along with Rudy Giuliani and Mo Brooks and several other cast of characters, whipping up that MAGA crowd, which went there for the sole purpose of trying to overthrow our government and potentially even kill our former governor of our state, Mike Pence. Everybody remember, hang Mike Pence? That wasn't Democrats saying that, that was MAGA Republicans. So the record has to stand as it is. This was caused by Donald Trump because he couldn't deal with the fact that he lost. He lost to Joe Biden. Joe Biden won in a fair election. Joe Biden is the president of the United States. Donald Trump is in Mar-a-Lago where he should be, and he should remain. So that's just a fact.
Our political insiders, Democrat Brian Gaddie, Republican Jim Merritt. Abdul will be back with us next week. Abdul went to Seattle this week, Jim, so I don't know if he's bringing back any special gifts of herbs or not, because I know that's something that you are an advocate for as well. I will not speak for Abdul, but we will see him next week. But Jim, thank you for joining us this week. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Brian, we'll see you next week. Take care.
Thank you, Ray.